We also have talked, even on this channel, about Angel's very dramatic response to that. Angel Reese started with, "I'm heartbroken. I'm literally lost for words, knowing what this woman meant to me in such a pivotal point in my life. She was the only person," which is interesting.
After being sacked by the Chicago Sky, Angel Reese, previously one of the most talked about players in the WNBA, has just delivered a bombshell that is rocking the sports world. Her charges have everyone wondering about what transpired between her and the Chicago Sky.
Fortunately, it seems like, according to some new reports, that relationship caused...
What part did her coach Teresa Weatherspoon play in this, and why was she fired? This story involves more than simply a player being fired. It also involves a betrayal, scandal, and controversy that could endanger Durr's once bright future.
Point being, she disrespected the official. That was the official.
Let us begin at the outset. Angel, due to her talent on the court and her larger-than-life personality, Reese was always viewed as a rising star who could take the WNBA by storm. She was rapidly becoming one of the most well-known figures in women's basketball. But all of that attention came with a lot of pressure, which may have resulted in some dubious choices that ultimately cost her everything. Many people thought that Reese and her coach, Teresa Weatherspoon, were closer than most player-coach relationships, but no one could have foreseen how toxic things would get when rumors started to circulate about Reese's use of performance-enhancing drugs. Fingers began to point at Weatherspoon. Did she actually force Reese to make these decisions? Or was Reese just attempting to shift the blame? After being discovered in the Chicago Sky, wasted no time once the allegations came to light. Reese quickly suspended while an investigation was conducted, but while many thought the situation would be resolved, quietly Reese had other plans. Instead of laying low and letting the investigation run its course, she took to social media to air her grievances, accusing Weatherspoon of betraying her and throwing her under the bus, according to Reese. The real reason she was let go had nothing to do with performance or drugs. It was all about politics and power plays within the team. The WNBA has never seen a scandal quite like this. Sure, there have been controversies in the past, but nothing on this level. Reese's accusations are not just damaging to her career. They're casting a shadow over the entire league, and to make matters worse, the Chicago Sky seems to be in complete disarray. With Reese gone and Weatherspoon fired shortly afterward, the team is left scrambling to pick up the pieces of a season that was already falling apart. But let's take a step back. What drove Angel Reese to this point? Was it the pressure of trying to keep up with other stars like Caitlin Clark, whose rookie year was nothing short of legendary? Or was there something deeper going on behind the scenes? It's no secret that Reese's game wasn't on the same level as Clark's, and that frustration may have pushed her to make some terrible decisions. According to some insiders, Reese had been struggling for a while, unable to handle the expectations placed on her. Her performance on the court was slipping, and the comparisons to Clark were constant. The steroid allegations were the tipping point. If true, they would explain a lot about Reese's recent performance, including her sudden ability to dominate in games where she had previously struggled. But if they're false, as Reese claims, then why did the Chicago Sky cut her so quickly? Was there something else going on behind the scenes that the public doesn't know about yet? And what about Teresa Weatherspoon's role in all of this? As Reese's coach, she should have been guiding her player through these tough times, not making things worse. But according to Reese, Weatherspoon was more concerned with saving her own job than helping her star player. The two women had a falling out, and when things got tough, Weatherspoon allegedly threw Reese under the bus to protect herself. If that's true, it would explain why the Chicago Sky decided to fire both of them at the same time. The team needed to clean house and start fresh after a disastrous season, and getting rid of both Reese and Weatherspoon was the only way to do that. The locker room too was in chaos. Teammates were reportedly fed up with the drama surrounding Reese, and Weatherspoon trust was shattered, and morale was at an all-time low. It's no wonder the Sky season was going downhill fast, with players more focused on the off-court issues than their performance during games. Reese's scandal only made things worse, turning what should have been a season about redemption into one of the biggest embarrassments in the team's history. Fans of course, have had mixed reactions in women's sports. Players are held to impossible standards, and frequently have to make tough decisions in order to remain competitive. While some support Reese and believe her claims that she was set up and used as a scapegoat by her coach, others believe she is merely attempting to shift the blame after being discovered. One thing is certain, though, this story is far from over. The WNBA has a lot of work to do to repair its image after this scandal. The league has been trying to increase its fan base and visibility in recent years, but controversies like this don't help. On the contrary, they only serve to reinforce the negative stereotypes that have plagued women's sports for decades. So, where does Angel Reese go from here? Will she be able to move past this scandal and regain her place in the WNBA? Or will her career officially end? Only time will tell, but one thing is for certain: she won't be going down without a fight. Reese has always been vocal, and you can bet that she will keep fighting to clear her name and reveal what she believes to be the true reason for her firing. As for the Chicago Sky, now that both Reese and Weatherspoon are gone, the team is in disarray and will need to find new leadership, both on and off the court, if they hope to rebuild after such a disastrous season. However, with so much animosity still present, it will take more than a few new faces to turn things around. Teresa Weatherspoon's future in the WNBA is equally uncertain as Reese's. Her reputation has been severely damaged by this scandal. Regardless of whether she was directly involved in the steroid allegations, the fact that her name is now linked to such a contentious situation will make it difficult for her to find another coaching position at any time, not long after. But before the scandal and fallout, Reese may have made some poor choices, but it's obvious that the tremendous scrutiny she endured contributed significantly to her demise. This story also highlights some significant issues regarding the pressures placed on athletes, particularly women, in today's sports world. The WNBA, like other professional sports leagues, needs to do more to support its players and ensure that they have the resources they need to deal with the pressures of fame and competition. Angel Reese's story has only grown more intense since her firing from the Chicago Sky, and the fallout continues to reverberate through the WNBA as we dive deeper into this mess. It's becoming clear that this scandal has exposed much more than just one player's mistakes. It's pulled back the curtain on the pressure and politics at play in women's professional basketball, and the immediate aftermath of her firing. Reese remained defiant. She's always been a fighter, and this time was no different. Instead of quietly fading away, she started speaking out, telling anyone who would listen that she wasn't the only one to blame. In fact, she suggested that she was pushed into a corner with no choice but to make desperate moves to keep her career alive. But while Reese was pointing fingers at her coach and the Chicago Sky organization, the fans and the media were quick to respond, and not all of them were on her side. Many believe that her actions, regardless of the circumstances, have done irreparable damage to her reputation. The steroid scandal, whether she was pressured into it or not, has left a dark cloud hanging over her career. And it's not just the fans who are questioning her now. Her former teammates too are reportedly distancing themselves from her, unwilling to be associated with someone who has become the face of such a massive controversy. It's no secret that Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of a sensation since she entered the WNBA. Her incredible performances on the court have earned her a legion of fans, and she's quickly become the league's darling. One of the biggest questions surrounding this situation is whether Reese's rivalry with Clark played a role in her downfall. From the moment Reese entered the league, comparisons were made between her and Clark. Both were young, talented players with the potential to become the faces of the WNBA. But Reese appeared to struggle under the weight of those expectations. The strain to compete with Clark must have been tremendous, because Reese has been unable to maintain her figures, which are acceptable but pale in comparison to Clark's record-breaking numbers. As Clark's star continued to rise, Reese found herself falling farther into the background. Being continually compared to someone as dominant as Clark can make it feel impossible to succeed in the WNBA. For Reese, this pressure may have been the driving force behind her mistakes that ultimately led to her demise, whether it was the need to remain relevant in light of Clark's growing popularity or the pressure to perform. Fame, Reese found herself making choices that would ultimately cost her everything. And yet, despite everything, Reese isn't ready to fade into obscurity in the interviews and social media posts. She's made it clear that she's not giving up. She's determined to fight her way back into the league. And she's not afraid to call out those she feels have wronged her along the way. It's a bold move, especially considering the fact that she's currently at the center of one of the biggest scandals in WNBA history. But if there's one thing we've learned about Angel Reese, it's that she's not afraid of a fight. The WNBA, meanwhile, is doing its best to distance itself from the controversy. The league has worked hard in recent years to grow its fan base and improve its image, and this scandal threatens to undo a lot of that. Progress the fact that one of its most recognizable players is now embroiled in a steroid scandal is a nightmare for the league's PR team, and the fact that her coach Teresa Weatherspoon was allegedly involved only makes things worse for her. Weatherspoon, this scandal has been nothing short of a career-ending disaster. Once a respected coach with a bright future ahead of her, she's now become a symbol of everything that went wrong with the Chicago Sky this season, whether or not she was directly involved in Reese's decisions. Even as the scandal fades, there are still unanswered questions. Was Reese's termination actually due to the steroid accusations, or was there more going on behind the scenes? The fact that her name is now linked to the scandal has caused irreversible harm to her reputation, and in a league as competitive as the WNBA, that kind of damage can be difficult, if not impossible, to recover from, according to some insiders. The Chicago Sky had been searching for an excuse to sever their relationship with Reese for some time, and the steroid scandal just provided them with the chance they needed. Other insiders think that firing Reese and Weatherspoon simultaneously was a calculated move meant to send a message to the rest of the league. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: Angel, even though everyone's eyes are on Angel Reese, it's hard to imagine her giving up without a fight. The fallout from this scandal has also raised important questions about the state of the WNBA as a whole. Will Reese be able to clear her name and make a comeback, or is her career in the WNBA truly over? Only time will tell, but if there's one thing we can be sure of, it's that she won't be quiet. Whether she's fighting for her spot in the league or calling out those she feels have wronged her, Clark's dominance in the league is likely to continue unchecked. But even without Reese as her rival, Clark still has plenty of competition in the WNBA, and while her rise to fame has been meteoric, she'll need to stay focused if she wants to maintain her position at the top. As for the Chicago Sky, the team is facing an uncertain future. With both Reese and Weatherspoon gone, they'll need to rebuild from the ground up, and with the shadow of this scandal hanging over them, it won't be easy. But if there's one thing we've learned from this saga, it's that anything can happen in the world of professional sports in the end, Angel. Reese's story is one of talent, ambition, and the pressures that come with success. Whether she's ultimately vindicated or vilified, her journey serves as a reminder that the path to greatness is rarely a straight line. And for the WNBA, her scandal is a wake-up call that there's still work to be done to support its players and ensure that the league's future remains bright as we wait to see what the next chapter holds for Angel Reese with so many unsolved issues and unresolved tensions. There is no doubt that this tale is far from over, and the women's basketball community will be intently monitoring what transpires next.